Roger Griffin is a professor of modern history at Oxford Brookes University, and he joins us now from Oxford in the UK. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us on the program. Now, I want to
It's
start
my
off
pleasure.
by getting your thoughts on why there has been a rise of the far right in Europe, especially in France, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, it's a very complicated set of factors, but the common factor is that there is a real deep crisis in the ideals of the Enlightenment, of humanism, of a transcultural humanism where we're all individuals with human rights. The Immediately after the Second World War and the horrific consequences of Nazism, there was the creation of institutions, especially the United Nations, that proclaimed human rights. And there was general progress in the context of the Cold War towards some sort of liberal consensus about human rights. But I'm afraid with the mounting crisis points in Western history and global history, demographic crises, financial crises, crises of standard of living, now the COVID crisis, and of course, overarching everything, the climate crisis, there
Hmm.
is a tide of anxiety which is pushing people to become obsessed with their identity and their homeland.
Interesting. Um, Now, we've seen far right politics lead to political violence, racial division, and ethnic cleansing before. If we see a candidate like, for say, Eric Zemmour take office next year, can we witness injustice practices executed towards minority groups?
Well, let's be rational. There's very, very little chance of Zemmour actually. He might become second candidate and therefore have a runoff against Macron, but it's extraordinarily unlikely that he would be voted in. If you look at the history of the performance of Le Front National or Rassemblement National in presidential elections, it's always what we call in English a damp squib. It's a firework that doesn't go off. Nevertheless, the presence of parties such as the AfD in Germany or the Lega in Italy or Vox in Spain, and the list goes on, and of course Trumpism, and of course the Brexit Party in England, they're different parties, but they have common agendas, is to push the center of gravity of politics further to the right. And that
Hmm.
means becoming more and more exclusionist about mass migration and multiculturalism. And that is a very dangerous trend. But it's not just in the
Right,
West. If you look at the politics of China, China is also operating
right.
an ethnocratic politics. If you look at its policies towards Islam or
Hmm.
Hong Kong or whatever.
Okay, I want to end on asking you if you would agree that a growing population of refugees have triggered politicians to enforce extreme rights ideologies towards minority groups, especially Muslims.
Well, yes. There is populist pressure to cut immigration. I mean, Britain, for example, prides itself historically on its liberal values, which is quite a dangerous claim. But there really is a deep sense of still being invaded. I mean, we're having a few hundred every day from the continent, which is nothing compared with what Turkey has undergone. And I don't trust liberal humanistic values in this
Right.
period of history. I'm quite concerned.
All right, Roger Griffin, thank you so much for joining us on the program. It was a pleasure having you.